The Orlando Magic staged a late comeback win after losing a lead of their own, and it was the unsung hero that was able to provide a spark and help out our two franchise guys, Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. Spurs not trying to win very many games right now at this point in the season, at this point in their organization. The Magic, on the other hand, felt like they got out to a really, really fast start, slowed down a little bit, gave up that lead, then were down. We're able to come back. We're going to talk about this entire game, look at the post game, and most importantly, kind of give a little bit of praise and give him his flowers to the unsung hero, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. If you watch this game, I can't even believe, first of all, that I'm even saying this, but if you watch this game, you know that KCP was extremely instrumental in this win last night, and, you know, we've been crapping on him all year, saying that signing was really bad. Got to give credit when credit is due. KCP came through, so we're going to be talking about that. But guys, as you know the drill, make sure to subscribe to the channel. On the road to 1,000 subs. We're now under 60, just subscribers away from that goal. So make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out here at Magic Digest. As always, I'm your host, Previty. This is your one-stop shop for Orlando Magic basketball content. Let's go take a look at the box score. Okay, so this is what the Magic box score looked like. The thing that immediately jumps out is 7 3-pointers from KCP, 24 and 24 from Paolo and Franz. They shot just about the same from the floor, but it was a little bit different from the three. Franz probably could have relaxed on some of his three-point shots, but the three was going in for this Magic team, and it kind of felt like at certain points they were settling. I mean, it was a back-to-back, so there was a little bit of that fatigue, and I think that ends up bringing this team to shoot a lot more threes to settle in a sense, but good thing for them. It was going down tonight, 18 and 47, 38% from the floor. We had three guys over 20 points, and that's a pretty good recipe for this squad, especially with the way that they play defense. A lot of teams aren't going to be able to match that if we are able to get to 116 points in a game. Other notable storylines from this game: Isaac got almost 20 minutes in this ball game. He was really, really good out there, specifically defensively. Wendell Carter Jr.'s minutes seems to have taken a bit of a dive in this matchup. I think that they went with Jonathan Isaac. They liked what he was bringing, specifically defensively out there. That was pretty big. Corey Joseph had 18 minutes. Anthony Black had 20 minutes. Right now, they were just kind of trying to figure everything out, I think, as far as who they want as their kind of second point guard. But the biggest story was Cole Anthony actually was made available, and so he returned from his big toe strain. I'd imagine he is going to be the starter at some point over the next 7 games. There's just no real reason to have Corey Joseph be the starter going into the play-in/playoffs. So I think Cole Anthony's going to take that spot back. They're just going to ease him back in. I think Jamahl Mosley would be making a big mistake. I don't care how good Corey Joseph has been playing if he starts him over Cole Anthony. I'm just putting that out there right now. Also, Caleb Houston, 4 of 8 from the 3. There's some really interesting things to like for this Magic team going into the play-in. But also wanted to highlight what was going on with the Spurs. They obviously don't have Wemby or De'Aaron Fox, so they're missing their 2 main guys, and they're in a little bit of a different spot. They had scoring from just about everybody in this game, so they did not play bad. And also, Chris Paul, he played in his 1,347th career game. He surpassed Kobe for 15th place in games played in league history. Paul has played in all 75 games for the Spurs this year, and he's the second oldest player in the league behind LeBron. So wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out. They had 6 guys in double figures. That is no coincidence when we look at Chris Paul and the kind of impact that he's had on any team that he's played for in the NBA. Okay, so obviously the Magic got out to an early lead in this game, and it kind of felt like the same old stuff when it came to them like losing a lead or losing grip on this game. So at the end of the first quarter, they were down by 5, and it was tied at halftime, but this Magic team had something going. They certainly had a firm grip on this game. They led by let me double check here. They led by 14 points at a certain point in this game, and the Spurs had an 11-point lead essentially going into later on in this game, and the whole script just flipped. It was 37-21 in the fourth quarter. The Spurs had a 9-0 run, bridging the first and the second halves, and that was really difficult. They built a 68-61 lead 2 minutes into the third quarter. That was kind of where everybody was looking at, like, oh my God, is this game slipping? Ended up not slipping away. That was just super big for this team to just be able to control that. San Antonio led with 11 points. By 11 points in the third quarter and was up 93-91 with 7.5 minutes remaining. Orlando then went on a 14-2 run, and that was all she wrote, essentially. Banchero was the MVP of that run. He had 11 points on 5 for 6 shooting in the fourth quarter. So, as we all know, Banchero is the main individual whenever it comes to when you need a bucket for the Orlando Magic, especially as of late. He was able to come through. That was huge. So, a little bit of a back and forth, but for the most part, the Magic had control of this game, lost it, got it back. Okay, so I always ask you guys the same 3 questions at the end of the month. What was the game of the month in March? What was the grade that you'd give this team for the month of March, and then who was kind of like the best player? We're going to get to that, but first we're going to look at what Jamahl Mosley said in the postgame, because I thought it was pretty interesting, but it wasn't like the biggest thing ever. He demanded the basketball. This is in talks about KCP, and they found him when he was open. He wasn't afraid to step into a shot. That's who he is, and that's the experience he brings, this toughness, the toughness he brings. This is really cool because you don't think that KCP is going to be one of those guys who loses confidence. He's a 2-time champion. He's a role player. He's not exactly one of those guys that I would point to be not confident or mentally strong, but he's really had a bit of a slump of an entire year. So it's awesome that he still wants the ball, and when he's got it going, he's not going to shy away. And that was really cool to see. Our ability to sustain our effort, step up in big moments, our toughness and focus level was big time. Jamahl Mosley just talking about the team here. Those were the 2 quotes that I wanted to highlight. I thought that was really cool on both ends, where he was able to give credit to KCP, kind of build him up, and then also build up the rest of the team, because this was a team win. KCP was able to show out. Caleb Houston was able to show out some of the role players, but it's really important to also just recognize that this was a team win. This team is now healthy. They are as healthy as they are going to be for the rest of the season. So this team, it's going to be really cool to see KCP and Caleb Houston, if they can get hot, how they can contribute to this team going into the playoffs, and with Cole Anthony, Paolo Banchero, and Franz Wagner as like the pseudo big 3 right now for this team. Okay, but as I mentioned, the last thing that we're going to cover are the grades. I asked you guys in the community poll what did you think of each question. We'll start with what was the game of the month for the Magic in March. This was resounding. It was Cleveland, the win over them. When Cole Anthony came back, only played 6 minutes. It was Anthony Black's breakout game. That was super big for this team. They stopped the Cleveland Cavaliers winning streak and almost essentially kind of broke them a little bit towards the very end. That was the biggest win for this team, and it came down the wire. It was a great game, and it was Sunday basketball, prime time, middle of that day, so that was awesome. What grade would you give the Orlando Magic for March? It's in between a B and a C, and I got to be honest, I kind of agree. It was in between a B and a C for myself. I'm not exactly going to be an extremely hard grader, so if you put a B, I'd kind of understand just with what we had dealt with in the month of February. But I would say, for the most part, the beginning of the month of March was probably a D to an F, and then the end was a B. So if you kind of give that an average of a C, that's okay too. I completely understand. Also, play of the month in March for the Magic, Paolo Banchero won this resoundingly. I gave you guys the option of Franz and Anthony Black, and then to comment who else. This was Paolo Banchero. He was a beast this entire month. Franchise player. Number 1 guy for sure. Most consistent guy right now on this team. No hate to Franz Wagner, though. Of course, an amazing player. So that was what you guys decided for the month of March. Right now, the Magic are tied with the Atlanta Hawks, and they are winning the tiebreaker. They are currently the 7th seed. In the last video, I mentioned that I didn't think that there was anything they could do despite playing each other for the Magic to win, because obviously the Magic have played 2 more games than the Hawks. I'm going to take that back, actually, because since they do play, I do think that there's a route where this team could get the 7th seed, have a home play-in game against the Hawks. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I mean, you just win that game, and then you're the 7th seed. So I don't really think it's going to amount to much. And then if you're the 7th seed, you go play the Boston Celtics. And would you rather be the 8th seed to play the Cavs? I mean, let me know what you guys think about that down in the comment section below. Who would you rather play? I keep asking that question. I want to hear from all of you guys. I would rather play the Cavs in that sense, but I would try to avoid Cleveland. Or excuse me, I would try to avoid Boston as much as I possibly could. But great win nonetheless. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time with more Orlando Magic basketball content.